Niger Delta stakeholders asked President Muhammadu Buhari to withhold assent to the PIB to forestall crisis in the region. Court adjourns Igboho's extradition trial till next Monday. The federal government denies stopping Nigerians from using Twitter. Nigeria's Center for Disease Control reports a drop in Nigeria's daily COVID-19 infection cases. And U.S. House of Representatives approves plan to allow extra visas for U.S.-friendly Afghans. And this is the news on Atlantic Television Network. You're welcome. An alliance of Yoruba agitator groups, Ilana Omodua, says the extradition trial of Sunday Igboho has been adjourned till next Monday. The communications manager of the coalition, Maxwell Deleye, stated this in a statement while citing Igboho's lead lawyer, Yomi Aliyu. According to Adeyeye, the Nigerian government is yet to come up with charges against Igboho, who is currently being detained in the Republic of Benin. He also said that contrary to insinuations, the hearing revealed that there was no extradition agreement between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin. The lawyer also revealed that the court adjourned the case to give Nigeria more time to bring evidence against the rights activist. In the story we've been monitoring, the petroleum tanker drivers in Nigeria's southern river state have called off their 4-day strike, which began on Monday. Chairman of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria in that state, Joseph Obele, revealed this to Atlantic Television Network. Obele says said issues between the tanker drivers and security agencies, which almost resulted in fuel scarcity in River State, have been resolved.
Front intervention of the Commissioner of Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Peter Mede, has finally resolved the petroleum tanker drivers' strike that started since Monday in River State, that was almost bringing scarcity of petroleum product in River State. At that point, the missing products from the two trucks, 45,000 liters times 280 naira per liter each one, close 9 to 10 million naira from each trucks. We've confirmed the trucks are not leaking, but the contents in the trucks are all empty. So with government angle and the security operatives, they have promised to replace those two with the products to the two trucks. Thus, the strike has been called off yesterday, and supply and distribution and dispensing at station have commenced immediately. So there is no scarcity forthcoming and again, and the distribution network is now activated and now in full.
No longer here.
Channel, we'll see if we can get across to our guest on the news this afternoon, Peter Mede. Please stay with us.
Hello.
We anchor the facts. A whole for in-depth reportage. Breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide spectrum of topics. We anchor the facts. A whole for in-depth reportage. Breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide spectrum of topics. anchor the facts. A home for in-depth reportage, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide spectrum of topics. We anchor the facts. A home for in-depth reportage, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide spectrum of topics.
We sincerely apologize for the mix-up, but we still have the Honorable Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources in Rivers State, Dr. Peter Mede, on the line to throw more light on the impasse between the tanker drivers in Rivers State and the security operatives and how that impasse was resolved. Dr. Mede, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
All right. Tell our listeners and viewers to Atlantic Television Network News how this disagreement was resolved.
Well, first and foremost, let me make the record straight that what the IPMAN representative said was actually not what transpired, and that was not the correct version of what caused the strike, which we resolved. Actually, what caused the strike is that sometimes in 2007, a tanker was arrested by the police. And when he was arrested by the police, the truck was towed to the state police headquarters, the criminal department. And all effort by the owner to get the truck released failed. At the end of the day, the police authority optioned the truck and the product. So the owner of the truck and the product went to court. And when he went to court and started the legal battle, he succeeded in securing a judgment that the police authority should pay him 24 million naira, covering the cost of the product as well as the cost of the truck. Another additional 6 million was what 10 million. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go on, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Dr. Mede, please go on.
So making 30 million. Now the police authority refused to pay that money. And when they refused to pay the money, the man still proceeded to Senate and got a petition through the Public Complaint Commission in the Senate, who also invited the police and then heard the matter and resolved that they should be paid. They were still not paid. Before they finally now went to the union, the NUPENG, National Union of Petroleum Tanker Drivers, which is their father union, because PTD, which is the Petroleum Tanker Drivers, is affiliated to that. So they went there, and then PTD now wrote a letter. You can see I have a letter here. They wrote a letter to the executive governor of Rivers State, and I was copied. The State Commissioner of Police was also copied, while the State Director of SSS was also copied. So when we received the letter, we made effort and got the CP and the State Director of SSS and myself were able to invite the union people in Rivers State. We spoke with them, and they agreed because the CP in Rivers State is saying that he is relatively new. He's not aware of this matter. The IG is also new. They are not aware of this matter. And they need to give us some time to be able to see what we can do to get this IG and the new people understand the matter before they can take up the issue. The representative of the union in the zone and in the state agreed, and then that 3 months should be given for them to handle all that. However, they did not report that back to their national leadership who wrote us. So the national not being aware of what was agreed, now gave them the directive to proceed on the strike on Monday, because the 14-day ultimatum they gave to us ended on Sunday. So that was what happened. So we were able to establish contact with the national leadership, who is also working with us. So the national leadership with us were able to negotiate and discuss, and they said that, well, because that has been agreed, they will not be able to undermine what was agreed with the zonal people in the state here. Rather, that we should put that in writing. So the CP need to get across to the IG. I also got across to His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, and we were able to put a letter representing the understanding, and it was yesterday sent to the IG office and also sent to the national leadership in Lagos. So it was on the strength of that they magnanimously call off the strike. Where Rivers people may not have noticed the strike because there are a lot of products that are still in the stations. So we were gradually getting into the stage where we would have experienced scarcity. Just like the representative of IGMAN said, we actually made several efforts to get this problem resolved. So, and we are grateful to the national leadership of Nupeng. We are grateful to the police authority, and we're also grateful to His Excellent Governor, as well as the director of SSS, because with the combined effort from all of us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mede. It's quite interesting that you've been able to give us a background to this particular incident. What is being done by your office, by the government, in collaboration with the interested parties to this disagreement or this misunderstanding, to ensure that we don't have this occurring again?
Like I told you, we invited the owner of the truck, and we invited the representative of the union, and we met with them, and we made them understand that this problem happened since 2007. I was not Commissioner of Energy then, neither was the CP in Rivers State, the CP.
Yeah, if you can hear me, sir. If you can hear me, sir.
On the strength of the yes, I can tell you.
Okay, I'm asking. Has the issue been solved? Has the judgment of the court been obeyed by the interested parties? Has the compensation been paid? The directive of the National Assembly Public Petitions Committee, maybe the Senate, if that's the case, have the victims been compensated as directed?
No, that we haven't got into that stage yet. What we have done is to initiate the discussion that will culminate into that. And we are very, very sure that in no distant time, especially within the time frame that we agreed, we should be able to get all that done and every party should be happy. But as of today, the money is yet to pay because the IG is new, the Commissioner of Police Rivers State is new. The governor was not the governor then, neither was I, the Commissioner of Energy then. So we are all new to the matter. And so we have asked for time to be able to resolve it, which they have given to us. And we have written a letter of commitment to that effect that we'll be able to resolve this matter.
Okay, Dr. Mede, we received reports of a petroleum explosion at Rumekini in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State, where you are Commissioner. Are you aware of this? And what's been done about this by the Rivers State government?
Well, we are not aware of this because we didn't have any such report. What happened, anything that happened in Rivers State is being magnified. Somebody had a jerrycan of petroleum in his custody in his premises, and then that a jerrycan of petroleum he stored, possibly to use for his generator, and maybe the generator was closer, had an explosion. That is not to our notice, and we have sent our our management person, especially the head of petroleum department of the ministry, to go there and confirm exactly what happened. But what we are aware of from the information available to us is not a situation where there was an explosion, where petroleum that were stored in a place was exploded. No, one individual had a reserve petroleum in a jerry can that exploded, and I don't think that should be what we should bother about, because we will not be able to go to every home to see how many persons are storing petroleum. However, we have a situation in our hand where nobody in this country is sure when product will be available and when product will not be available. So people try to hold product and we have been advising people not to upload it in their residential areas.
Thank you for your time. Peter Mede is the Commissioner of Energy and Natural Resources in Rivers State, Nigeria.
Thank you.
Justice Babs Kwebi of the Federal High Court, Ado-Ekiti, has set aside October to give judgment on a suit filed by the Ekiti State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Olawale Faponda, challenging the dismissal of a pregnant, unmarried female police officer, Omolola Olajide, by the Inspector General of Police. Olajide, who was enlisted as an officer in the Ekiti State Police Command, was dismissed from service in February 2021 after she was discovered to be 6 months pregnant while still being single and unofficially married. According to the state police spokesperson Sunday Abutu, it is embarrassing and against the Police Act for an unmarried police woman to get pregnant. Now, shortly after her dismissal, the Ekiti State Attorney General filed a lawsuit challenging her dismissal while insisting it is an abuse of her fundamental human rights. The Ekiti State Commissioner of Police and the Police Service Commission were joined in at the suit as co-defendants. Faponda, in his lawsuit, is seeking an order of the court to nullify Section 127 of the Police Act and regulations, which provides for the discharge from service of a female officer who becomes pregnant while married unofficially. The Nigerian federal government says it has not stopped Nigerians from using the social media platform Twitter. In a bizarre twist, the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, said this at a federal high court in Lagos in a counter affidavit in response to an originating motion filed by human rights lawyer Inibe Efio. The government had on June 4, 2021 suspended Twitter barely 2 days after the social media platform deleted a tweet by President Muhammadu Buhari. Also, Malami threatened at the time to prosecute Nigerians who are still using the microblogging site, while the National Broadcasting Commission ordered all radio and television stations to stop using Twitter or picking content from the platform. Now, rights lawyer Effiong subsequently sued the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, the Attorney General Malami, and the federal government of Nigeria for suspending the social media platform. In the fundamental human rights suit, Effiong is seeking 9 reliefs, including an order of perpetual injunction restraining the respondents from further suspending, deactivating, or banning the operation and accessibility of Twitter or any other social media service in Nigeria because the act was, in his words, in violation of his rights. Nigeria has received the first of 6 military aircraft it bought from the United States of America. The planes are expected to help in surveillance and airstrikes against insurgents and other criminal gangs. The A-29 Super TUCANO planes landed in the northern city of Kano on Thursday afternoon and were received by Defense Minister Bashir Magashi and other military chiefs. Nigeria had placed an order for 12 military planes from the United States, which took a few years to manufacture. The remaining 6 are expected to arrive the country in October. The issues of insecurity and terrorism have been a major challenge to the Nigerian government in recent times. The activities of gunmen have led to the loss of lives and property in the country, while a large number of citizens have been maimed or rendered homeless. Now, speaking to Atlantic Television Network, the Director General of the River State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency, Mike Okechukwu-Chukwuma, said it is high time the insecurity affecting the country is addressed. Chukwuma, who is a former Assistant Commissioner of Police in River State, also charged security personnel to face their constitutional duties instead of extorting citizens.
What are the factors in security? What are the causative factors? Is it unemployment? Is it lack of industry? Is it politics? Is it insincerity of leadership? By the time we ask ourselves these questions and we get to the answer, realistic answer, then we can now start tackling them. That is, I just mentioned factors that could likely be causative factors to this insecurity in the nation.
He further stressed the importance of information gathering and reducing crime and criminality in the country.
Is the major ingredient on which any security agency runs. In those days when you want to eat yam, it's not the way we used to. It is palm oil we use to eat in yam, particularly roasted yam. Intelligence is the palm oil with which security can be run. I don't believe in armed men roaming the streets, showcasing themselves as a preventive measure. They don't scare the underworld men, because they also have the intelligence.
A former Bayelsa State Governor and current Senator of the Federal Republic, Sereke Dixon, has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to withhold his assent to the petroleum industry bill passed by the National Assembly. He said there was a need for the review of the proposed legislation to accommodate the 5% allocation to the host communities. Dixon, who represents Bayelsa West Central District in the National Assembly, said this while addressing journalists in Abuja on Thursday. He said it will be against the national interest to open another frontier of conflict in the Niger Delta region that is enjoying relative stability if the host community's equity share is not resolved. Dixon lamented the leadership of the Senate, led by Ahmed Lawan, frustrated efforts by the South-South senators to get the support of their colleagues from other regions of the country to approve the 5% for host communities as their share. The senator explained that the bill proposed 10% for the host communities and another 10% for frontier development when it was introduced to the National Assembly by the administration of the late President Umar Yar'Adua. Meanwhile, ethnic nations in the Niger Delta region are still not happy with the 3% offer made to them. The national president of the Movement for the Survival of Izon ethnic nationality in the Niger Delta region, MOSIEND, Kennedy TONJO-WEST, during an interview with Atlantic Television Network, said the group will accept nothing less than 10%.
At this point in time, Nigeria and upscale to 10%. 10% is not too much for the Niger Delta people, for oil-bearing communities who have also sustained the development of this country, who has also contributed immensely towards the unity, towards the peace, towards the socio-political stability of this country. 10% or nothing.
He said with the fallout of the petroleum industry bill and several other injustices in the Niger Delta, the law and the people of the Ijaw and the people of the Niger Delta have lost faith in one Nigeria. He called on the Niger Delta lawmakers at the National Assembly to do all it takes to ensure the right thing is done by their people.
It's sad and unfortunate that the Southern will come and tell us, the South what to do with our oil. As a woman in South, we will not accept it. We will mobilize our mom, our mothers, our grandmothers, everybody will march down to them and will protest that we will not accept it.
How can you give a 3% to host communities? Why a huge percent goes to whatsoever they call it? Since the Northerners, they feel that they own the oil. Fine, they have proved to us that they own the oil. They should come and drill the oil, but we'll stand on our own ground that we'll do anything humanly possible to make sure that the oil will not be drilled.
If it is not 10%, we are ready to do anything within our reach to make sure all oil installations, all oil facilities are being shut down.
3%. It's totally insulting. It's unacceptable. I think it's
I think it's a mess to the Niger Delta. It's humiliating. Nobody accepts such things.
Now, those were residents from oil-bearing communities in the Niger Delta region saying to Atlantic Television Network that they will do all they can to frustrate the adoption of the 3% by the federal government. Now, meanwhile, the lawmaker representing the Oba-Egbe-Mandoni constituency 2 at the River State House of Assembly, Nathaniel Owaji, who also hails from an oil-bearing community in River State, has called or is calling on the federal government and the federal lawmakers to give in to the demands of the Niger Delta people.
I want to appeal to the lawmakers at the national level to know that, irrespective of your political party, this is not issue of party. These are documents that will stand test of time. So if you are National Assembly and maybe you are in APC, you are in PDP, you are whichever party, and you now feel that you are talking to defend your party, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because at the end of the day, you are children. Our children, they will not suffer it.
Not going down well with some Niger Delta people. The people are appealing that the federal government should increase it to 10%. From Port Harcourt, Femi Ogukiledi, ATN News.
In other stories, the River State Governor Nyesom Wike says his administration is committed to improving the quality of life of Rivers people. Wike said this when he addressed journalists during an unscheduled inspection of 4 ongoing flyover projects in Port Harcourt and Obiapo local government areas of the state. He, however, frowned at the operations of illegal parks and other illegal trading activities around the ongoing flyover projects.
Quite impressed with the level of work, job to do, because, you know, our people don't like to keep plates. What about sanitation? You will do roads and they will litter all kinds of things. And so we have taken a decision that we are going to barricade all these unnecessary parks that are springing up left, right, and center, and to make sure that people would know that you don't just wake up in the morning and just decide to, you know, take government space and use as your private park.
The River State Governor, speaking further, stated that henceforth a business place in the state or places in the state with unkept premises will be sealed up.
You can't be having your businesses here and then in front of your business area you see people dropping refuse and you allow it. We are going to be hard. We are going to be very hard soon. If we see refuse in front of any office or any business area, of course we have to shut down that business area or that office. Because the
decision, the governor said, is prompted by the carefree attitude displayed by members of the public towards issues of sanitation. Governor Wike said his administration has the political will to implement the new order because in the long run it will result in a change of behavior of Rivers people.
You know, people don't believe that anything can happen. And we want to tell them that we have the political will to implement whatever decision we have taken. And those Aramola area, about roadside, they will be the first victim. And thereafter, people will follow and know that the government is very, very serious. So all those who litter, refuse, motor parks, all of them on the road, they'll have themselves.
You're also watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Still ahead, Nigeria's Center for Disease Control reports a drop in Nigeria's daily COVID-19 infection cases. Details when we return. Major stories. Some Niger Delta stakeholders have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to withhold assent to the petroleum industry bill to forestall crisis in the region. We brought you news that a Cotonou court has adjourned Sunday Igboho's extradition trial till next Monday. Also, we told you that the federal government of Nigeria has denied stopping Nigerians from using Twitter. Those are the stories that we have been giving you details about on the news. Well, let's move on now. The Lagos State government has announced a restriction of movement from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday for the local government elections in that state. The state's Independent Electoral Commission, LASEC, will conduct elections in the 20 local government areas and 37 local council development areas in Lagos. A statement by the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho, explained that the restriction is to enable LASEC conduct hitch-free elections into positions of chairman and councillors in all the 57 local governments and local development council areas in the state. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has said the country recorded 184 new COVID-19 infections yesterday. The NCDC on its website said the new infections indicate a decrease in the 238 cases announced a day earlier. It stated that the 184 new cases were reported from 7 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Lagos State, where a majority of the cases were picked on Thursday, reported 124 cases. River State registered 27, Sokoto 9, while the FCT and Oyo State recorded 8 and 6 respectively. The NCDC noted that the country's confirmed COVID-19 cases were 170,306 as of July 22, while active cases stood at over 3,000. The United States House of Representatives has approved a plan to allow an extra 8,000 special immigration visas for Afghans who helped the United States and are at risk of retaliation as the U.S. troops complete their pullout from Afghanistan. The bipartisan bill also aims to speed up the processing of the visas. The bill, which has passed a vote, or with a vote, which was passed with a vote of 407 to 16, will now be considered by the U.S. Senate. The Special Immigrant Visa Program, as it is called, is available to Afghans who worked with the United States government or the United States military. President Joe Biden's administration has been under pressure from lawmakers and advocacy groups to begin evacuating thousands of applicants and their families after Biden said the U.S. military mission in Afghanistan would formally come to an end on August 31. The International Center for Investigative Reports says the Lagos chapter of the National Union of Road Transport Workers generates over 123 billion naira on a yearly basis. The report said the figure could service the annual budget of the Nasarawa, Niger, and Yobe states put together. The data, which was released on Thursday, showed that the money was released through levies on passenger vehicles, motorcycles, and tricycles. Other sources of income not included in the report were money levied on hawkers, articulated vehicles, and persons who visited certain markets to buy goods. The report recorded a total of 75,000 buses, 50,000 tricycles, and 37,000 motorcycles in Lagos State. Everton striker Richarlison scored a first-half hat-trick as Brazil's men's football team began their Olympic campaign with a 4-2 victory over Germany. In a repeat of the 2016 Olympic gold medal match, the defending champions raced into a commanding lead despite Matheus Cunha having a penalty saved. Also, in Group D, AC Milan defender Frank Kessie scored an Ivory Coast 2-1 win over over Saudi Arabia. Earlier, Spain were held to a goalless draw by Egypt in the opening game of the men's competition, despite the inclusion of Euro 2020 young player of the tournament, Pedri. In other games, France's Olympic tournament got off to a disastrous start as they were thrashed 4-1 by Mexico. Elsewhere, New Zealand made history with their first ever win in men's football at an Olympics game, beating South Korea 1-0. Romania joined New Zealand at the top of Group B thanks to an own goal by Elvin Olivier that gifted them a 1-0 win over Honduras. And on that sporting note, we come to the end of the news for now. Before we go, let's take another look at the major stories. Some Niger Delta stakeholders have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to withhold AXSENT to the PIB to forestall crisis in the region. A Cotonou court has adjourned Sunday Igboho's extradition trial to next Monday. The federal government has denied stopping Nigerians from using Twitter. And the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has reported a drop in Nigeria's daily COVID-19 infection cases. We also brought you news that the United States House of Representatives has approved a plan to allow an extra 8,000 special immigration visas for U.S.-friendly Afghans. And thanks for joining us. You can always follow us on our social media handles on Facebook and YouTube. We are at Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram, we are at Atlantic TV Network. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.
We anchor the facts. A home for in-depth reportage, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide spectrum of topics. Anchor the facts. A home for in-depth reportage, breaking news and in-depth interviews on a wide spectrum of topics.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring